If I'm a company who is more advanced and I want to do more with my data, because large organizations have an abundance of data that most of the time they don't know what to do with it, what kind of options would they have with AI?
Oh, okay. That's actually a really good question. So it doesn't even necessarily have to be a larger company, but just a company with more history. A startup lacks the ability to have created data for years and years and years. Whereas, a company, even if they're still medium sized or even small, that's been around for several years, likely has some historical data. And they probably have this historical data in several places. They're likely to have it in engineering, operations, sales, marketing, all across the board. What AI can do with historical data is it can really get to the heart of determining whether an outcome might be possible and within some certainty. As managers of work and people and projects, we look at risk, right? So we inherently understand that there's some tolerance where I'm like, okay, there's some risk to this project, but the benefits are really good. So knowing that internally and probably not quantifying it, I make a decision based on this. It's the same thing with AI. Given a lot of historical data, it can replace sort of your gut feel for that. So rather than saying, well, it's possible that it will rain tomorrow or something like that, you can actually do it based on prior events and have a probability that it will rain. That ends up giving you sort of a risk tolerance of sorts. And that ends up being a binary classification or a binary inference of sorts. There's the possibility to extend that beyond binary where you get into multi-class. And really, there are many categories that this might fit into. So in the world of our document intelligence, when you're classifying a document, when you first ingest it, you may want to know whether that document is an agreement or a memo or an invoice or a purchase order. That will help you treat that document in a certain way down the line. You classify it first, and then you probably do some other work on that stuff. And then generally what most people run into in early stages of AI is regressions. So that's machine learning. So taking historical pasts and applying largely a function that tells you whether it's likely to happen again. So imagine in the world of rain again, so historical data for weather, you're thinking, okay, well, based on all of the historical data, and there's a lot of data in weather, is it likely to rain tomorrow based on all the signals we've seen? And, like your weather forecast is not completely right all the time. But again, that's that probability mix. So you're running a regression to try to figure out if something that's happened in the past may happen into the future as well. So those are the lighter touches of machine learning. So starting to get into AI. And then if you're much more sophisticated or have the engineering chops and data science chops, you may do some deep learning, some neural networks.